Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Welcome back to Auto Webinar Cash Cow. In this video, we're going to talk about why you would want to use webinars in the first place. I mean, what's the main point here? Why are we promoting that you use webinars? And one of the main reasons is that webinars are proven to have higher conversion rates. Okay, and we're comparing this to email marketing. Okay, so webinars have a higher conversion rate than email marketing. Okay, now you can have a sales video, and if you have really good copy and you have a lot of traffic that's buyer traffic coming to it, you may convert higher than a webinar. But you may notice that a lot of people are using webinars these days to sell. Okay, so maybe you've been on a webinar where you've gone through some content, and then at the end there was what they call a pitch, and people were pitching their product or service. Now the great thing about webinars though is that you can actually deliver a lot of value. They're very interactive. Okay, a sales video is just a piece of copy, and you put it out there and you hope that people buy. Okay, with a webinar you can actually get feedback in real time. People can ask questions, you can answer them, you can teach, okay, and give a lot of value, and then at the end sell your product. You can also sell higher ticket items on webinars. Okay, so you can charge more on a webinar for the same amount of traffic that you can on a sales video. For whatever reason, it just works. Okay, so keep that in mind. You can sell more. Okay, so you don't have to have as many buyers, but webinars usually convert higher, so you get more buyers and you get to sell more. So obviously that equals more money. You can also generate a lot of traffic. Okay, people love live training. There's a lot of inherent value in live training. Now, here in our program, we offer live training every 2 weeks where there's no pitch. Okay, it's just good, solid training that people really enjoy. Okay, so if you haven't already registered for that, go ahead and register for your live training calls on the home page. But just remember, webinars generate a lot of traffic. People love to go to live training. They love to ask questions and get their questions answered in real time. You can also become viewed as an expert. Okay, when you run a webinar and you have a lot of great information that people need, people see you as a teacher. They see you as an expert, which you are. Okay, if you have the information that helps them solve their problem. Okay. You can also spend a lot of time on a webinar teaching people about what their problem is. Okay, a lot of people don't even know exactly what their issues are. They think they're doing something correctly, and they think if they just keep doing it, they'll have success. Well, this is your opportunity to tell people, you may have been doing this, stop doing that, do this other thing. Okay, and if you can describe people's problems better to them than they can, then typically you've got them. Okay, they'll want to buy from you, they'll want to listen to you. So the reason webinars work, like I said, is that you can educate your buyers. You can do real-time content and training. It feels very up-to-date, very current. Okay, they're also an event. Okay, people love going to events. They love getting invited to something. They love, getting their little RSVP invitation. They love clicking the link and registering and showing up and all of that. Okay, webinars are also very scalable. Okay, with the platform we're going to be recommending to you, you can enlist up to you can enlist more than 1,000 people, but you can show a webinar to 1,000 people at a time. Okay, that's the maximum number. That's a lot of people. Okay, so you can scale up. You can make a lot of money with webinars. I have plenty of friends that have webinar-based businesses, and all they do is webinars, and that's how they make all their money. Can be very profitable. So if you're not convinced, then just check out all the webinars. Start paying attention to all the webinar invitations you're getting in your inbox right now, and take note of the ones that interest you, and take note of the ones that you've actually been on, and think about it from your perspective. Was this something that you put a lot of value on? Did you show up? Did you ask questions? Were your questions answered? How valuable was that to you? Okay, so that's another way to look at it, another perspective. Always try to look at it from the buyer perspective. Okay, so webinars work very well. We really like them, but there's also another reason why webinars are really cool, and they're a great place to get what we call joint venture or JV partners. So in the next video, I'm going to talk to you about why webinars are so great for joint venture deals, and why they're so great for partnerships. So I'll see you in the next video.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Welcome back. In this video, I just want to briefly talk to you about JV partners and why webinars are so great for building what we call JV or joint venture relationships. So webinars are obviously a great way to build JV relationships. JVs can give their lists a lot of value by sending them to a webinar instead of a sales page. Have you ever thought about that? Okay. Have you ever received an email that said, hey, a really great live training coming up on Wednesday. This guy, did X amount of volume and X amount of time. You should go check this out. And then you click on a link and it just goes right to a registration page, okay? Or maybe it's a quick pre-sale page where the marketer is talking about whatever they're up to, and then they recommend that you go to the webinar page. Either way, the end result is you end up on a link. You end up clicking a link where you can register for a live training that's coming up soon. Okay. Once you register, you essentially give that marketer your name and email. Okay, so now you're on their list, and then you'll get a reminder the day of the webinar saying, hey, your webinar is today. Come check it out, and then you go and you watch the training. Okay. Then in the training, you get a live kind of demonstration of the technique or whatever the marketer's trying to sell. Okay, so whatever it is, okay, it could be how to lose weight, how to make money, how to build chicken coops, what have you. Whatever it is, you get a live, real-time, current demonstration. Okay, which is a lot more valuable to you than going to a sales page where someone's trying to obviously sell you something. Okay, a lot of the pitches for webinars are done at the end of the webinar after the hour and a half of content is given to you. Okay, so this is a great way to make money and give value to your own lists. Okay, so these JVs can send you traffic. Okay, this is another great way to get a lot of traffic. Now, you don't want to approach a JV and just completely be relying on them for their list and their traffic. Okay, you want to approach multiple JVs, but it's best to have your own little list as well. Okay, so it's best to have people already registering for your webinars. Use the Twitter technique we talked about in the first video. Go through some of our other traffic techniques to send people to your webinar. Okay, and then also ask JVs to send people as well. Okay, and then obviously whatever you sell on the webinar, you can give them a percentage of it, however you want to set that up. Okay, but it's a great way to do this. Okay, it's a great way to leverage relationships. Okay, it's a great way to also get JVs to come on, other experts to come on and talk about their product or service, okay, and do training on your webinar, okay, where they can sell something to your list and your audience when you have a big enough registration and a big enough list, and then you get to get an affiliate commission, okay, for letting them promote their thing. Okay, so there's lots of different ways you can do this. You can pay people to come on your webinars. Okay, so there's lots of different ways that you can get people to come and give value to your list as well as giving value to their list. Okay, so webinars are a great way to create a buzz and just build relationships with joint venture partners and take everything to the next level. Okay, so in the next module, we're really going to dive into our favorite platform for basically doing all of your webinar training, everything from setting it up, getting the links, recording the webinar, how to do all that. And we've got a really great platform for you that I think you're really going to like. Okay, and you've probably already been a part of it. If you've been on anyone else's webinar, it's a very popular service. Okay, so you've probably heard of it, and they also advertise on TV, so you've probably seen them on TV as well. But we really like this. This is exactly what we use in our business right now to generate a lot of income with our webinars. So in the next module, we're going to jump into exactly what we do and the how-to and the nuts and bolts of running your webinar. So I'll see you in the next module.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Hi, welcome. In this video, I want to show you how to essentially create your account with GoToWebinar. Also get a free trial for a free 30 days of using the service. Now, GoToMeeting is the company that you've probably seen on TV. You've probably been to a webinar with GoToWebinar or GoToMeeting. But GoToMeeting is a great service. Essentially what you can do with GoToMeeting is set up meetings for your team. Okay, if you've got people that work remotely that you need to actually see their face and talk to them, and it kind of gives that in the boardroom feeling. If you have people you need to collaborate with that work remotely, then you can use GoToMeeting. Okay, we've also got GoToTraining. Okay, GoToTraining is something very similar. Okay, it's a great way to host training sessions with up to 200 people from your desk without the need for IT support. Okay, so it's a great way, like they say here, to save time and travel costs by moving your training program online. And maybe eventually we'll do a training on GoToTraining or GoToMeeting. But right now you don't need any of those, because what we're going to focus on is GoToWebinar. So if you click here on GoToWebinar tab from GoToMeeting.com, then you can see essentially all kinds of information they have about the training, okay, about GoToWebinar. So you can do it yourself webinars with up to 1,000 people. Okay, really sweet. Okay, they got some videos here you can watch. It's one flat rate per month. Okay, I believe it's $99 per month. Okay, so if you're obviously if you're having 1,000 people come to your webinar and 20% of them are buying something at $100, okay, or whatever you're charging, then you can see that you can make your money back really quickly. The catch is it does take time to build your audience. It does take time to get all this figured out. So what GoToWebinar does is they give you a free trial. Okay, for 30 days, you get to use GoToWebinar completely free. You get to host webinars for up to 1,000 people, and then at the end of your trial, if you're wanting to continue using the service, they'll just bill you, or you can cancel the service if it's not making you any money. Okay, so what I would recommend that you do is focus on getting a good email list and getting a good group together, and then sending them a promotion for your webinar. I would really recommend making sure you have a list before you start using the free trial at GoToWebinar, unless you've just got some money to invest. If you've got the $99 a month to invest, then by all means invest it in GoToWebinar. It's a great way to do live training. There's a lot of perceived value with live training. You can also record the webinars and house them in your members area as your own content. It's a great feature that GoToWebinar has. Okay, so there's really two sides to the coin. It's up to you. But for now, you can try it for free for 30 days. So just show you how to do that real quick. As you click here on Try It Free, all you do is enter your name and your email address. You can uncheck this box if you don't want promotions from them. If you do, leave it checked, and then click Continue. On the next screen, you'll enter your password. Okay, so it's got to be 8 to 32 characters with letters and numbers. Okay, do that real quick. Make sure you write this down somewhere so you don't forget it. You can always reset it as well if you forget it. Then you have to click this box saying you agree to the terms of service and anti-spam policy, and you can read those here by clicking on these links. And then the final screen here, they're saying they're going to charge you $0 to your credit card today. Okay, it's a 30-day trial. Okay, you can get up to 25 attendees and 1 organizer seat. Okay, with your meetings, with your webinars, you can get 100 attendees for 30 days and 1 organizer seat. The organizer is you, and I'm going to show you exactly what that means, but you are actually the organizer. So if you scroll down here, name on the credit card as it appears, your phone number, address, your address here, and then enter your credit card information. Like I said, they're not going to charge you, but about 10 days out from your trial, they'll send you an email, let you know what you can do, the different plans they offer, and you can go from there. Okay, so you may start with the lowest plan, which is based on the amount of people you could have on the webinar. Okay, so if you're just getting started, then 100 people would probably be fine. Eventually, when you've got a big list and a big group and people are really liking your stuff, you may need 1,000 people. Okay, so it really is based on how many people you need to have on your webinar. So it's great. Okay, it's not just a one-size-fits-all program. But for now, you get 100 people for 30 days for free. So you'll enter all that information, and then you'll click Get Your Free Trial. In the next video, we're going to go ahead and log into the dashboard at GoToWebinar. I'm going to show you our account and show you exactly how to create webinars, how to set all that up. It's a really cool service, so I'm going to go ahead and do that in the next video. Go ahead and get your free trial started with GoToWebinar, and I will see you in the next video.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how to start a webinar, create a webinar, where you'll then get a registration link that you can send to your list, and people can opt in and get notified of when the webinar is going to be, and they'll get notification emails, but I'll talk to you about that. But from your dashboard here in My Webinars, all you need to do is click on Schedule a Webinar. From Schedule a Webinar, there's basically just a three-step process. It's really simple. The first thing you can do is schedule a similar webinar to what you've already done before. Okay, so if you've got a recurring webinar or a webinar you're going to be doing a lot, then you can go ahead and schedule a similar webinar. Okay, for this purposes, we'll start from scratch. So what you would do is come down here to webinar name, just type in the webinar name. So let's just call this test webinar. And let's say for the description, we'll say, just don't miss out on our next live training. And you can add whatever you want to here. Okay, so just describe whatever your webinar is, and they'll see that on the description and the registration page. Then down here for date and time, you want to make sure that you take into account the time zone that you're scheduling this in. Okay, so if you want it to be at 9 o'clock p.m. from 10 o'clock p.m., make sure you change that accurately as well. You'll want to choose for 9 o'clock. I wouldn't go any later for the Eastern time zone than 9 o'clock. Okay, that's going to be 6 o'clock on the Pacific time zone. Should cover just about everybody. If you want this to be a recurring webinar, you can say that it's recurring daily, weekly, or monthly. It'll just happen at the same time. And then here you can come in and pick your date. Okay, so let's go ahead and just say we want to do it today, but let's change this to 6 to 7. Okay, this is just for an example, but doing it this way, it'll show up right at the top once I've created it. So scroll down here. Panelists, if you have any extra panelists other than you, because you're going to be the organizer, so you'll automatically be a panelist. If you have any extra ones, you can add them here. These are guests that come in and help you with your webinar. They'll be showing their screen. They'll be talking as well. Panelists will be able to be heard by your audience. Individual audience members will not be able to be heard. So if you want somebody to be able to be heard by the audience, you need to make them a panelist. Click Save and Continue. I don't really mess with this too much. You can leave all this the same. Okay. You can actually put the name, title, organization of your presenter, if the person that's actually going to be giving the webinar. If you want to, you don't have to. Just click Save and Continue. Here, this is the actual fields that people will need to enter their information into on the registration page. The first three are required: first name, last name, email address, because GoToWebinar will email them the details of the webinar. The rest you can do if you want that information. If not, clear all. Keep in mind, the more information you ask for, the lower your opt-in rate is typically, depending on the niche that you're in. Okay, so we just do the first three here. Scroll down. You can create a question if you want to. You don't have to do any of this. You can keep it here. They'll automatically receive an email. You can redirect them to a different page as well if you'd like to. You don't have to. So here you just say save and email me the invitation. And here we are. Here's our webinar right here. Today, Thursday at 6 p.m. Okay. So here you can go and edit the actual settings of your webinar as well. Okay, you can go and edit the panelist, the branding, any of the stuff that we created. You can edit that. If you need to add a panelist, you can come in and add somebody here. Okay, if you want to add yourself, you can. You don't have to though, because you're the one that's going to be starting the webinar. But if you do put your name and email here, you'll get a webinar email reminding you of the webinar. So you may just want to do that for your own sake. But if you come back here and click on this little link here, you can actually click. This is the registration link. Okay, this is what you'll give people to register for your webinar. If you click that, it'll open up in a new window, and this is your registration. Okay, it says the name, the title. Okay, and here's the description that we wrote. Don't miss out on our next live training. Enter your name, email, and people can just register now. Okay, so you can send this link out in an email to your list. You can put this on a page somewhere, whatever you want to do. But this is a great way. GoToWebinar kind of handles this kind of squeeze page for you for your webinar. Okay, so it's really great. As long as someone clicks on the link, they get all of this. They can enter their information. they'll get reminders in their email about the webinar that's coming up. Okay, so they'll be reminded a couple days in advance, and then right before the webinar they'll get another reminder. Okay, and GoToWebinar automates all of this. Okay, so it's really cool, really fantastic. So that's how you create a webinar in GoToWebinar. So thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Welcome back. In this video, I just want to show you a few settings you'll need to tweak inside of GoToWebinar before you actually start and record your webinar, because we want to make sure that our webinar is really easy to get on a web page or put up somewhere as a video, as a replay. So for not only can you have people come onto your webinar and watch your training and interact with you, but you can also record your webinar and have that as a piece of content that you can put anywhere. But we've got to get that content into a format that will work on the web. So the first thing we have to do is come down here and click on this little arrow and right click the GoToWebinar icon. And all you need to do is come up to Preferences. Okay. So for here, really all we need to mess with is the webinar, the recording tab here. Okay. So there's a few different settings on GoToWebinar. First is the audio. Okay, so you can choose to not record audio, which you probably wouldn't want to do, or use your own audio service. By default, it's set to use the GoToMeeting integrated audio. Okay, so this records anyone who speaks. Okay, so these are all your panelists. So that's what I would do for this. Now for your recordings, there's two different formats it will record in. One is the GoToMeeting format, okay, which has a weird codec that doesn't work, and you have to do a lot of stuff after to get the video into MP4. Okay, unfortunately, GoToWebinar does not put the video into MP4. Okay, even if you have a Mac. Okay, I'm doing this from a PC. In a PC, it gives you a .mov file. For Macs, it gives you a .mov. For PC, it gives you a .avi. Okay, so we don't want any of those. We have to have an MP4. So we're going to transfer that later after the webinar. But for now, all we're going to do is we're going to come down here and we're going to click on Convert to Windows Media Player File. This removes the weird GoToWebinar codec, and it makes it easier for us to convert this file later. Okay, so when the webinar ends, you're going to see a short processing time. It adds a little bit more processing time, a few minutes. It's not a big deal, okay? But you want to make sure you click this, okay? Convert to Windows Media Player File, okay? If you have a Mac, it'll say convert to .mov file or something like that. Then just choose where you want to save the webinar, okay? And then click OK. Alright, so those settings are very, very important. You want to make sure you do that before starting your webinar, okay? Because that's going to be very important to making sure that people can, or that you can transfer your video into MP4 later on down the road when I show you how to do that, okay? So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to actually start your webinar, how to get it recorded, how to select your panelists, and all of that stuff. So I'll see you in the next video.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how to start your webinar, get it all set up, and start recording it so you can have some content after the webinar is over. So the way you'll start your webinar, first of all, you'll click Start. But let's go ahead and click Practice. Practice is good if you've got a couple presenters on there and you want to, or a couple panelists on your webinar, and you just want to practice. You want to make sure your audio is good. You want to make sure everything's working,
Welcome to
properly.
GoToWebinar, Web Events Made Easy. Welcome to the webinar. You have entered as an organizer and may now speak to any other organizers or panelists on the line. When you are ready to begin the presentation, press the Start Broadcast button on the GoToWebinar control panel to allow all
Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how to start your webinar and record it. So all you have to do from your webinar here, from your screen, is log into your account and just click Start. It's that simple. Your webinar is going to connect to the GoToWebinar platform here.
Welcome to GoToWebinar, Web Events Made Easy. Welcome to the webinar. You have entered as an organizer and may now speak to any other organizers or panelists on the line. When you are ready to begin the presentation, press the Start Broadcast button on the GoToWebinar control panel to allow all attendees to hear you. This system will notify you once you begin your broadcast.
Okay, so she talks to us there for a second, and then from here, if you're the one talking, then you'll want this to be green, and you can see yourself talking right here. Okay, so you've logged in, it's your webinar. Pretty simple to do. It's going to be annoying and beep until we actually start the broadcast. But a couple things you'll want to do to get ready to record your webinar is, first of all, you want to make sure that you can see the presenter's screen before you hit record. Okay, you want to see the screen, then start the broadcast, then click record. Okay, so that's how we're going to do it. Really simple to do. So basically, you've got a couple different settings here. You've got the dashboard, which you can look at. I can show you who's here, who's attending. And you've also got your audience view. Okay, so it shows what people in the audience see. And this is what they see in the beginning before I actually show my screen. And then you see the attendee list. It shows you how many people are attending. Now, if you come down here, you can see the staff, which is all panelists, and all the audience. Okay, so from staff, you actually come here and right-click all of your panelists, and you can either make them a presenter and or an organizer. If they're a presenter, that means that they're going to be the one whose screen is going to be shown to the audience. If they're an organizer, that just means they can stop the webinar, they can record the webinar, things like that. Okay, you have to be an organizer to actually record it. So you right-click and make them an organizer. Remember, all of your audience members are going to be silent. You won't be able to hear them, but they will be able to enter questions down here into the questions box, which you can read the questions. You can respond privately. You can respond to all, or you can just answer the questions out loud. And that's pretty much all you really need to know about the dashboard. Now, if you're not presenting, make sure you mute your screen here so people can't hear you talking. Okay, that's important to do if you're not presenting. Now, another thing here. Once you're ready, you can go ahead and click Show My Screen. So I'm just going to show this screen here, okay, the screen of monitor 2. I've got 2 monitors. So I'll show my screen, and then what I need to do here is I need to go ahead and start the webinar, okay? Once I start it, I can go ahead and start recording. Okay, so right now this is the screen that the audience is going to see, my screen right here. Okay, so then I'll just come up here, I'll click Start Broadcast. All the attendees are in listen only mode, and I can go ahead and I can start recording the webinar. So I've started to record the webinar. Now anything that I do is going to show up on this screen right here. Really simple. Okay, so I go ahead and record the webinar. I can switch presenters. Okay, so I can switch people that are showing their screens. All the panelists on the webinar will be able to talk and be heard by the audience. All the audience members will be able to type questions in that we can respond to. And like I said, make sure you delete your microphone if you're not wanting to be heard. So that's pretty much it. That's the gist of it. Okay, so we'll let the webinar run for a second, and then when you're ready to end the webinar, you can just stop recording and you can X out. You'll say, are you sure you want to end the webinar for everyone? Say yes. And then what's going to happen is GoToWebinar is going to process your webinar. So it's going to convert it, because remember in the last video I told you to make sure you use the settings that actually convert the webinar. And that's going to give you the finished video, which I have it saved to my desktop. So here on my desktop, we have this video right here, which is the actual webinar. So if I double click the video, so I've started to record the webinar. Now anything that I do is going to show up on this screen right here. Really simple, okay? So I go ahead and record the webinar. So that's the video of my webinar, okay? So that's pretty much how you start and record your webinar and have a video that you can now use for content purposes. Remember, this isn't going to give you a actual, it's not going to give you an actual MP4, it's going to be an AVI file. So we're going to need to convert that to MP4. Okay, so you can drop this into Camtasia, you can use Handbrake, you can use whatever software you have that can convert videos. I like Camtasia. Camtasia Studio is really simple to just record it and produce it into an MP4. Then once you have that MP4 video, that's what you can use. You can put that online. Um, that's pretty much the universal format. Okay, so that's all you really need to do. Now we've got our finished product, got our webinar. Really simple. GoToWebinar is great. It's a great way to interact with your audience, answer questions, but also have a good piece of content, an hour, hour and a half long video of you doing live training that you can sell or give away for free or whatever you want to do. So that's pretty much GoToWebinar in a nutshell. In the next module, we'll really be talking about how to monetize this and how to make money from your webinars. So thanks for watching this module and thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next module.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Welcome back. In this video, I wanted to talk to you about a couple ways to kind of get a feel for what your audience is thinking, kind of get some feedback, do a little marketing research with your audience in real time. And that's through polls and surveys. Okay, so you can poll your audience during the webinar. You can create surveys that people can take after the webinar ends, and they're very, very beneficial. Not only from a standpoint of you being able to kind of get their opinion and see what your audience is thinking, but also to kind of ask loaded questions to prove your point. Okay, you give the audience a certain amount of answers, but the right answer is the one that kind of proves your point. Okay, so the way you would look at these is you could come in here and click on, let's do this real quick. Just from your webinar here, you can click on polls. Oh, oops. Polls, where basically you can do a single answer or multiple answer poll. You write the question, then you write the answers, and then you just create. Okay, you can also use this up-down buttons to change the order of the appearance of your polls. And then if you want to see how they appear, you just run your practice session and click Save Changes. Okay, so that's one way to do it. You can also do surveys. Survey says, where same thing, you can do multiple answers, scale of 1 to 5 answers, open-ended, where people can leave a phrase. These three are probably the easiest way to get quick answers from people. But you can ask questions, get feedback on how the webinar went, how much value they got out of it. Okay, you can include a link to survey and follow-up emails to attendees, or you can show it right after they exit the webinar. Okay, so that's kind of the low-hanging fruit. As soon as they exit the webinar, the survey pops up. Okay, so it's a great way. You should be utilizing this. This is a great way to kind of get your monetization started. Okay, to kind of see what people are thinking, what they're responding to, what they like, what they don't like. That'll really help you going forward with your selling on your webinar. So that's pretty much the polls and surveys, and I'll see you in the next video.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Welcome back. In this video, I want to talk to you about following up with your audience after your webinar. Okay, so there's a few things you can do after your webinar. One of those obviously would be to do the polls and surveys that we talked about in the last video, where basically you can get a lot of feedback from your audience. But after that, you can send out emails after the webinar. Okay, you can send out emails to the people that attended. Okay, just thanking them, saying thanks for jumping on the webinar. Let us know if you have any questions, and giving them an email they can send their questions to, the questions they may or may have not gotten answered on the webinar. You can also send out sorry you missed messages to people that registered but didn't attend. Okay, and you can see all this inside GoToWebinar in the reports section. But essentially, you just find out who registered and didn't show up, and then send them an email. And what you can do is send the replay of that webinar that I showed you how to record and create in your email to your full list. Okay, you can send that to the people that missed the webinar, and you can just send it to everyone. Okay, this is really beneficial, especially if you're selling something. Obviously, you want as many people to see it as possible. So you'll want to send your full webinar or a link to your full webinar. So maybe you'll put you'll host the webinar on one of your servers, and just have that on a page, just a blank page with a title, and then just send the replay to your full list. It's a great way to capture the people that weren't able to attend, that wanted to, that would like more information, and to really get the most out of your efforts and the time you spent on your webinar. So that's pretty much how you follow up with your people after your webinar. In the next video, I'm going to give you a few success tips when it comes to hosting your webinar. So I'll see you on the next video.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Welcome back. In this video, I just wanted to give you a few success tips for your webinar. Okay, just a few things that you want to make sure you do, make sure you're doing for every webinar. And in the next few videos, we'll talk about monetizing your webinar. So, a few success tips, okay? For one, you want to be sincere, okay? You're dealing with people live, okay? So you want to make sure that you're coming off as somebody that really cares. You want to spend a good amount of time on your webinar talking about the problems that people in your niche have and how to solve them and how you're going to solve them on this webinar, okay? You want to be very sincere. Be yourself. Don't try to be someone else that you've heard on a webinar. Don't try to take someone else's personality and make it your own. Just be who you are and just relax and just have a conversation, because that's all it really is. You're having a conversation, a live training, a live tutorial. It's very interactive. So just chill, just relax, and just be yourself. And genuinely try to help people. Okay, make this something that you're actually trying to do to help people, to better people, to help solve the problems in your niche. And then also answer the questions. Okay, you're going to have questions coming in. You can tell people at the beginning of the webinar, look, I don't answer questions while I'm training, because I don't want to be distracted. But afterwards, we'll have a question and answer period, maybe the last 10 to 15 minutes of your webinar. You can spend answering questions, helping people individually, but also, keep in mind that a lot of times the questions that your audience asks individually help everybody. Okay, so answering those questions, you'll start to see patterns. Okay, especially if you save the conversations and the questions, and you go back and read those. That's great marketing research. Okay, that's great. Those are great things to take into account when you're writing your own copy or making your own sales pages. All these questions and all these issues that people are having. Those are the things that you're going to want to address. Then also record the webinar. Okay, record the webinar. People, even if they were on the webinar, they may have missed something. So people love replays. Okay, so make sure you're recording it. You're also missing out on a lot of cash if you're not sending it to all the people that didn't make it to the webinar. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're recording it, you're getting it out there. You've got content now that you can use forever that it took you an hour to do. Okay, so it's a great way to get content. You can do 12 webinars over a 12-week period, and you've got a 12-week webinar training that you can sell. Okay, you can sell that as your master training or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so remember, always be yourself, help people, answer questions, and record the webinar. Okay, those are the success tips I wanted to give you here. And in the next video, I'm going to talk to you about how to convert your visitors into actual buyers that make you money. So I'll see you in the next video.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Welcome back to Auto Webinar Cash Cow. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how to convert your audience members into buyers. Okay, so pretty simple process here. Just follow this script and you'll have a lot easier time than if you just try to wing this. But the way we're going to convert our visitors into buyers is we're going to spend the first 80% of the webinar giving value. Giving value, free content, actually helping people. Okay, so give away some of your best stuff here. Don't hold back. Give away some good advice. Okay, give away some good training. Whatever niche you're in, give away some stuff that they can go and use right now to make money or get in shape or whatever. Okay, just give them some practical knowledge they can use right now. Okay, then at the end of the webinar, you can offer a special price. Okay, you give a reason why you're selling it at a special price. Maybe it's just for this group. Okay, or maybe right now you're beta testing something and you want them to try it out and you're going to raise the price later. Whatever it is, offer a special price and give them a reason to buy it at this price. Okay, you can also give away bonuses as well. Okay, so we give away free cash on our webinars sometimes. So you can do that. You can give away other stuff too. Other programs that you may have done, free PDF, just anything like that. People love free stuff. Okay, so you want to spend time building up these bonuses that you're going to give people if they buy the product you want them to buy. Okay, so if they buy X product, then you're going to give them this bonus bundle pack to go with it. Okay, and that's a great incentive to entice them to go ahead and buy what you're selling, and then also give some extra free cool stuff in the process. You want to make sure you have a strong call to action. Okay, let them know exactly what they need to do when it's time to buy. Okay, so put that link where you want them to click and go, put that on the webinar. Now, they won't be able to click it from the webinar. Okay, so this is very important that you do this. You leave it up there long enough to where people can see it, and and let them know, look, go to this link, buy my product, and email me the receipt, and I'll send you your bonuses. Okay, that's a great way to do it. Okay, and then also let them know what they will miss out on if they don't take action. Okay, let them know basically that their indecision is a bad decision, and let them know why. Okay, they're not going to solve their problem if they don't take action with this. Repeat this several times. Okay, don't just do this once. Don't just give a great webinar and an hour of training and say, hey, if you like this, go buy this, and then end the webinar. No, spend some time on this, okay? Because you want to. Sometimes people are on the fence. Sometimes people don't know if they want to do this or not. Okay, so you just have to be there and kind of help them along and help them make the decision that they need to make to get them to the next level in their business or whatever they're trying to do. Okay, so just remember to give a lot of value. Okay, that's the big thing. Is give a lot of value. Give them an incentive, a special price, maybe some bonuses, and then make sure you have a strong call to action. And then when you record the webinar, put that video up on some page somewhere, okay? So if you have your own hosting account and, you've got your own domain, make sure you're putting that video up so people can see it, and then put a little buy button underneath that video as well. That way people can click that button and go straight to whatever you're trying to sell, okay? It's something you couldn't do during the live webinar, but when you put this out there, so basically with your webinar, you can kind of create like a sales page, okay? Webinar type sales pages do very well, okay? Where someone's basically teaching for an hour and then they ask you to buy something. Those do very well, okay? So it's not just on the live training you're trying to get people to buy. It's, anytime they see this video. Okay, so keep that in mind. Always keep that in mind. Okay, so in the next video, we're going to talk about a few things you can sell on your webinar, how you can actually monetize it, and what kind of how you can get revenue from it. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video.
Audio Jungle.
Welcome back. In this video, I just wanted to talk to you briefly about some sources of revenue and what you can actually sell on your webinar to make money, and how you can use webinars to make money. So one way you can do this is actually to sell group coaching. Okay, so you've done 80% of your webinar has been all content, all free training. Then at the end you can say, hey, what, if you want some free or some more advanced help, okay, one-on-one, then go to this link and sign up, or you can have an application people can apply for your coaching. But essentially you can just sell more advanced training. Okay, one of the bonuses you can give away can be some videos or an ebook that you've written or something like that. You can give away for free for people to buy a coaching package. Okay, so it's a great way to end a webinar, is to sell the more advanced techniques. So on your webinar, remember, you're giving away free content, but maybe you don't give away everything. Okay, you keep a little bit back. Okay, because that's what you're going to show them, how you're going to show them that you can help them with this in the future by maybe coaching, or maybe you've got a software that can automate something, or it's really niche specific. So whatever it is in your niche, if it's health and fitness, maybe you have some great fitness tips or advice you can give, or maybe one-on-one coaching just to help people be accountable, things like that. You can also launch your own products with webinars. Okay, this doesn't require a list. You're essentially building a list while you're doing this. And the way you would do this is you would find other people in your niche that have lists, okay, people that have a big following, and you can just go and offer to do a free training, where you'll be giving a lot of content and value to their list. Okay, so they'll send out the email, they'll send the registration link, and then you'll just show up for the webinar and be what we call panelist. So the cool thing about this is this really gives you a chance to get out there and build your brand and build your reputation, give away some free training, and then also do a little pitch at the end where you can try to sell and you get to leverage other people's audience. But why would they want to do this? Well, other entrepreneurs will want to do this because it really takes some pressure off them, because now they have somebody else coming in doing the content for once and somebody else doing the training, and somebody else, giving the value. Okay, and then they can take an affiliate commission for whatever you sell. Okay, so every sale you make, they get a percentage or something like that. Or they can pay you, okay? Once you're a credible expert, you can go and charge people to show up on, every 2 weeks or every month or something, just give their audience some good value, okay? And they'll pay you for this, okay? People will pay you. So that's a great way to make quick cash if you're not really trying to build a list, okay? But if you are trying to build a brand and build a list, then maybe you'll go on and promote and give away an affiliate commission. You can also manage webinars for other people, okay? You can charge other internet marketers or other businesses. You can charge them to help kind of run and manage their webinar and live training aspects, okay? So you can go to a business and say, look, I think you need to do some live training once a month. I can do it for you. I can run the webinar. You can bring in experts, whatever you want to do. That's a great way to make money too, okay? So remember, once you have a big list, you can also just do the inverse of what we just talked about. You can bring other guests on. You can get an affiliate commission now because you have a big audience. Okay, so the goal is to get a big audience, so people will want to come on and do free training for you. They're going to do all the work. They're going to do all the content, the presentation. They're going to do the selling, and then you just take an affiliate commission. And that's a great way to do this. Just make sure you're bringing on credible people that are actually going to help and improve your audiences and your lists' lives, okay? Because if you bring on somebody that's kind of scammy, you could lose a lot of trust, okay, in the people that are following you. So those are just some ways to make some money with your webinars. I hope this helps. Thanks again for watching this training, and we'll talk soon.
Audio Jungle.